Looks like Lucy's frozen. So I'm going to ask Ines a question now. Right. One of the things that Lucy wanted us to think about are what are some of the do's and don'ts when job seeking? And Ines is like dealing with candidates from all over the world. So what would you say are some of the do's and don'ts? Ines, you're mute.
Sorry. I think it's a nice question because it's also culturally determined. And when I mean culturally, because we deal with most countries in Africa, but also people coming from overseas, everybody has different ideas about what is a nice way to approach a recruiter or an employer. But I would say the typical don'ts are approaching your recruiter or employer with just a hello or I'm looking for a job. So that is really, and we get that actually quite a lot, which surprises me. So that is more on the communication field, but I think it's always a thin line between staying polite, but still pushing your way forward, because recruiters and employers are not always, I mean, they're nice people, but they're very busy and they get approached by a lot of people. So you just got to make sure you're on top, but on the nice pile, I would say. So that is the balance, finding the balance between staying nice and pushing and not being that. So I would say if you've applied, for instance, also keep track of deadlines. So if the deadline for that application is a certain date, you'll just have to wait for that. Because only after that probably there will be a selection done. But also if there's a deadline for yourself, make sure you deliver before or on that deadline. So it's very deadline driven. And after that, I would say a week after, send them a friendly email just to ask how things are going, how the process is going, and then maybe a week after, make a friendly phone call. But stay friendly and don't become impatient. I think that is the most important for the recruiters. Do you have anything to add?
I was going to say, you've covered it so well. I have a whole huge list of don'ts, like do not do this. Yeah, I'm so glad also that you mentioned, the messages. I think all three of us, if we open our LinkedIn inbox, it's full of hello, I'm looking for a job, of which I never answer them. So that is a word of warning. But don't bombard, don't beg, don't badger people. I also get messages like, you're not answering me and how dare you not answer? And it's like, I'm really sorry. That's not how I operate. I would also say, don't spray and pray. There are some people who apply for all the jobs that you have on your platform. They're not qualified for any of them. It's just terrible. You need to be more intentional with choosing what to apply for. I would also say, be careful with the balance. Don't apply for just one job and then sit back and watch Netflix thinking you're going to get it, waiting for good news. I would say don't stop learning. If you're jobless, don't think that, you do not have time to keep learning and growing, and don't give up as well. Sometimes it's really demoralizing, right? You meet candidates and they just have this kind of look of, I don't know what it is, like depression. They've given up on themselves. So what employer is going to believe in them? It starts with you. Some of the do's, I would say introspective work. Like, you need to know what you want. It's not just I need a job. It's I want to do this and these are my skills. You should know what's going on in your industry, in the market, in the economy, in the globe, across the globe. And also use your network as well. Attend events like this one. And LinkedIn is so important. Like, I met both of you through LinkedIn. Of course, several years ago, right?
Yeah.
It's very powerful. So use it.
Yeah. What I would also say is that you only have one first impression. So don't think, oh, I'll finish my CV next week, but I'll send it anyway. Just for now, you're at the bottom of the pile straight away. So make sure your CV looks perfect and also applicable for that role that you're applying for.
Good point. And do your research. So if you're applying for a role for a particular organization, make sure you know everything possible. And you found all the staff members on LinkedIn and added them as well. Yeah, that's also helpful.
Definitely.